This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo.
Hello and welcome to the latest Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo. The Reds roll on, coming from a goal behind to beat Spurs 2-1 at Anfield and move 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League. To join me to talk about it are three fine gentlemen. I'm Joe Rimmer, by the way. Three fine gentlemen. On my right is our full-time Liverpool reporter, both home and away, Paul Gorst.
Afternoon, Joe.
How are you?
Very well, yeah, good.
Yeah.
2 wins in a week, can't complain. Very
Happy
good.
man?
Mm.
Yeah.
Happy as you can be on a Monday.
On my left is Theo Squires. How are you, Theo?
Very fresh, thanks, Joe.
I feel like I haven't podded with you for ages.
We did with the Genk one, didn't we? Tried to stitch me up.
Did I?
Yeah.
Don't remember. That was last week.
Yeah.
Don't even remember. Yeah, well, it's been a while. And on the end, very happy man after winning the Ian Doyle derby. Is Ian Doyle?
Hi.
How are you?
Busy. Let's crack on.
Busy? No, we'll start with you, Doyle, because this game has a special place in your heart. And I think midway through that second half, you almost started to sort of throw your toys out the pram a little bit.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I was unsettling Tottenham.
You were unsettling
I was
Tottenham.
unsettling them. Yeah.
So you were like key to victory.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I just kind of helped Liverpool on their way.
Yeah. Okay.
By saying that they were about to win the wrong game, which was very Tottenham.
You said that on our live blog, and for anyone listening, we when we do our live blog, the lads enter into a doc. A Google Doc, which we will then copy and paste into the live centre to build our live log. And Doyle had entered in Tottenham are about to win the wrong game. And as he said that, as he finished his sentence, and I started to copy his writing down into the blog, Liverpool went and scored, didn't they?
They did. Jordan Henderson.
Perfect
deserved
timing.
to. Yeah, Liverpool completely deserved the victory.
Yeah.
I think nobody could complain with it. Okay, they needed a penalty, which was a penalty. Pochettino said afterwards it was a penalty. Jordan Henderson got slaughtered before the game, got slaughtered 1 minute in because he lost the ball in the build-up to the first goal, was slaughtered for part of the first half, but by the end he was, I wouldn't say he was running the show down the right flank, but he was certainly making a big impression and of course popped up with the all-important equaliser. I mean, he wasn't the only player to play well for Liverpool. I'm sure we'll get on to one or two individuals in particular, but overall, that's probably the best Liverpool have played all season. I'd go as far as saying, certainly against a Tottenham team who, surprise, surprise, were a lot better than they have been for nearly all of the season. I think it was interesting that he started with Eriksen, Ali, Son and Kane for only the fourth time this calendar year, certainly in the Premier League. And, it was really three of them because Eriksen may as well have not been there. I'm not sure what's going on there. Not that Liverpool complained too much, but you saw Son played well. Ali did his bit. Kane scored his goal. It was a bit of a nuisance. So Liverpool had to be on their game, but overall you can see why the top of the table with 28 points from 30. I think that's matched the record for the most amount of points a team's got after 10 games in the Premier League. I think it was Chelsea in 2004-05, I think I'm right in saying. They did that and they went on and won the league. So Liverpool are in a very good position to just continue building on this very good start because they keep winning and they keep finding different ways to win. But I think if the game had finished 4-1 to Liverpool, yes, or 4-2, nobody would have complained because, Liverpool, Tottenham, had Paulo Gazzaniga. That's how you pronounce it, isn't it? Yeah. He had a very good game, and I know that a lot of Liverpool fans were saying, "Oh, this is just typical, a standing goalkeeper having a great game." It's like, well, hang on, Adrian's just played 11 of them, so I don't think Liverpool can complain too much about that. But they found a way to win. Well done.
All right, Dolly, before we move on, the big question. What is it about Tottenham that you despise?
I don't know, actually. I think it's more, I think it's to do with, I find them, I've got to be careful what I say here because basically, I'll say it anyway. Liverpool are playing Aston Villa next. Now, I regard Aston Villa as a little bit of a nothing club, certainly from the time that I've been watching football.
So who else do you file under nothing club?
Tottenham
Tottenham
and Aston Villa. They're both
the only two.
And when I mean nothing clubs, I don't mean nothing. Obviously, they've had very good teams in the time that I've been watching the pair of them. They've got, to be fair, they've got good teams now and they've got good players. They've both got good managers. They've got an awful lot of fans and they're very loyal fans because they can still get very good crowds. But they just, whenever you expect them to do something, they just don't. And I know Pochettino's changed that a bit for Tottenham over the last couple of years, but basically it's whenever you wanted Man United to lose the game against either of those two, they never would. That's basically what it comes down to. What it comes down to in the 90s, and they'd always cause Liverpool a little bit of a problem.
Any other one before we move on? Has any
You're already saying this because I know you're setting yourself up to come out with something.
Anyone else have any irrational dislike of any team?
I used to hate Wimbledon in the 90s. I was made up when they got relegated.
Was that because of their style, though?
It's not irrational. Just a load of yard dogs, weren't they? I never liked them.
I would like to point out I don't hate Aston Villa, by the way. I don't hate Aston Villa at all. I really like Villa Park as well. It's one of my favourite away grounds to go to, and I'm looking forward to going there next week.
Yeah.
There's no one particularly who jumps out, no? Man U.
I don't like Villa, but similar-ish reasons.
Bolton?
Oh, yeah. Don't like Bolton. Nah, Bolton are fine. With Villa, it's just another entitled club. It's like,
entitled?
They did win the European Cup, to be fair to them.
Many, many years ago.
They still won it.
I don't like the fact as well, the fans still call it the Villa.
They call it the Arsenal. With the Arsenal, which sets us up nicely with what you're about to say. Yeah.
Can't stand Arsenal, can't bear them.
Why?
Just think they've got a big plastic rubbish ground that they've stuck.
You've been to it?
78, yeah.
Okay.
Stuck 78 statues around the outside. and I don't know, they've got Gunnosaurus and...
Gunnosaurus is brilliant. Gunnosaurus is brilliant.
Crappy little
Gunnosaurus. I will not have a bad word said against Gunnosaurus. Well, whenever you've seen him in the mix zone, mix zone, giving high five to the players going through, it's one of the best sights you can get behind the scenes.
You like Gunnosaurus, but they've got a rubbish...
Mighty Red scares me.
They've got a rubbish badge. The badge is rubbish. It's just a... These
aren't very good reasons, are they, Joe? Let's be honest.
Their badge. And I don't... Well, that's the whole point, the irrational dislikes.
Chelsea.
That's not an irrational dislike.
It's not irrational, but it's... Yeah, I don't like them.
You're missing the point, Gorst. You can't just start saying Man United.
No. And I get your point, but...
Anyway, let's just talk about the football, because we're getting nowhere with you, Paul Gorst. Right.
Really do.
Liverpool coming from behind again to win under Jurgen Klopp.
Yes.
Andrew Beasley, thank you, Andrew Beasley, his column has armed me with some stats here. The last 10 times they've conceded the first goal at Anfield, last 10 times they've conceded the first goal in the game, they've come back to win 7 of them. The last 9 times they've conceded the first goal at Anfield, they haven't lost, winning 6 of them. And to sort of underline how good they've been under Jurgen Klopp, coming from behind, between the years of 2009 and 2014, they went behind 63 times and won only 8 of those games.
Really?
So, mentality monsters, aren't they, Paul?
Yeah, 100%. I wrote in the verdict, didn't I? That they're one of the most resilient teams in Wales football at the moment, and those stats just back up that shout, I suppose. Liverpool now are just so used to winning and so used to getting the result that they want that it doesn't really faze them when little things go against them. So throughout the season, you look at pretty much every game and there's been a big question thrown at them. Different types of questions, like Sheffield United digging in and Liverpool can't find a way through. They eventually do. Chelsea had a good spell, didn't they, where they come back into it and Liverpool clung on and got the 3 points there. Yesterday they had to come back from basically starting the game 1-0 down, still managed to win. And at Old Trafford, they were 1-0 down for large portions of that and still managed to dig deep and come away without a result when they didn't particularly play well. And there was a couple of refereeing decisions that went against them. So whatever you're throwing at this Liverpool team at the moment, they're coming up with an answer, and it's the reason that they're 6 points clear with 9 wins from 10. And it's, that is the comment, isn't it? The mentality monsters that Klopp said after Barcelona. And it's true. I mean, they're just so mentally strong. And that goes beyond pure footballing ability. That's something that probably reflective of the personalities that are in the team and the types of people that they are. And it's so hard now to find a way to beat Liverpool.
Theo, I said to Lemsip addict Sean Bradbury midway through that second half, this just feels like one of those days. The goalkeeper was saving everything, but Liverpool don't seem to be having those days anymore, do they? They just seem to find ways to win.
Well, Guy Clark, one of the video guys behind the pod, he said to me before the game, "How are you feeling? Are you worried about this?" I'm just like, no, I don't really go into any games worrying anymore. Like, even when Liverpool aren't at the best, you still expect them to get the job done. And that shows like there's a change in the mentality there. Maybe it's from winning the Champions League. They've got that belief in them. Like, even when they're like 1-0 down at Old Trafford, you think, I'm going to score here. Yeah. Leicester City, struggling against them, going into the last minute, you still believe that they're going to get a goal there. And I can't remember really. I suppose there was a stage under Rafa Benitez in 2009 where that was that belief in games. Like, it was the first half of that season, when they had like, the Wigan game, they won 3-2. They went to the Etihad, won 3-2. And they've been losing until like the last 5 minutes. But
the point I was trying to make, but under Benitez, there was still more of those nil-nils at home, which you'd think, just nothing's going to go in today. Whereas this Klopp team,
they always
seem to find some sort of way, don't they?
And there's always a different match winner as well. Yeah. Like when you've got a front three like that Liverpool do, I think the stats now, was it 15 games in a row where at least one of the front three scored at Anfield? They always find a way. And even then, you've got the criticisms of the team saying they don't spread the goals around. Well, Jordan Henderson scored yesterday. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain scored in midweek. They are finding more and more ways, and that's why they're looking stronger than they've ever done under Klopp.
Ian Doyle, you once gave Fabinho a 5.
I did.
You were close to giving him a 10 yesterday, weren't
yes.
you?
He was doubling his score.
How good was he?
He was very good. Very, very good. And I mean, you got to see extra sides to his game. I mean, obviously we know that he's very good at the old defending, which was interesting really because Jurgen Klopp, I wrote something last week after the Genk game where I kind of said this midfield might not see it again for a while, simply because, with Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, because it left so much on the shoulders of Fabinho, so much defending to do. He was never going to do that against Tottenham. Obviously putting Wijnaldum and Henderson, and some people obviously thought that was far too conservative. But what it did then allow was Fabinho didn't have to do all the defending all of the time. In the second half, he was one of Liverpool's most creative players, certainly from the position where he was playing. It was his pass, of course, that went, Danny Rose couldn't really deal with it, went to Henderson to score, and he had a couple more, didn't he? Salah, he played through, and I think there was one for Mane as well, which they couldn't quite get on the end of. And he's done that before. We saw him do it against United last year when he set up Mane for the goal. So, but he's just everywhere, isn't he? I mean, I wrote in my stuff this morning, I had to ask the question, is there a better defensive midfielder in England at the moment? I mean, the obvious one is Kante, but he's not really playing defensive midfield anymore, and he doesn't play almost most games. He only seems to be fit for when they play Liverpool, to be honest. Other than him, it's hard to think of anybody else. And it's also the fact that he's not just a defensive midfielder. He can play, we know, we've written all about his struggles, we know all about that, but that seems like a very long time ago now. And it was interesting that it was something I only got onto this morning, to be honest, was yesterday was exactly a year since his first Premier League start for Liverpool, which was at home to Cardiff, was it? I think it was. And,
it was, yeah.
And you look at the player then compared to the player now, we've known for some time he's among the first names on the team sheet, alongside Van Dijk, alongside Alisson, alongside the front three. They're all world-class players. You could even count the fullbacks into that. And Fabinho's another, he's now got to be considered as world-class in his position. And this is a Tottenham midfield that, no mugs. Harry Winks is going to be a very good player for England and Tottenham, and probably Man United when he joins them, because he will do. And then you've got Sissoko, who's very strong. They brought on Dombele. Who's on the centre mid?
It's nice that the only good thing you could say about Sissoko is they've got Sissoko's very strong.
He had a good game, yeah. I thought he had a good game. He's been very much hit and miss for Tottenham, certainly at the start of his career there. But lately, he's been the one player who's been all right this season.
To be fair, it was a magnificent run for their goal. I think they kind of got overlooked, but he went past about 3 players.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not easy. They are good players, and to go in there and absolutely dominate them by the end of the game, it shows you how good he was. And I nearly give him a 10, but I think he would have had to have probably, I don't know, scored. It's hard for a centre mid to get a 10, isn't it, really, for being honest? For him to get 9, and probably, if we were working for the Daily Mail, I'd probably give him 9.5. They do things by arbs. So yeah, I was very impressed, and I did give him 5 once because he wasn't very good when he first started.
Wasn't that in the friendly though? In fairness,
it was in a friendly.
So
He was in a friendly when he missed a penalty, and then I wrote something like, "Oh, he's nowhere near ready." Got absolutely slaughtered. Sorry if I'm boring people with this, because as we've done this quite a few times, and then he didn't play for months, so I was right.
Yeah,
it's basically what I just wanted to build up to there.
Vindicated.
Of course, everybody loves Fabinho.
Yes.
It wasn't always the case, I suppose, in terms of Klopp getting him in the team, but it's been he's just become. Is he arguably Liverpool's most important player? Is that going too far?
Possibly. I wouldn't say he's that, but certainly growing in stature and influence by the week, isn't he? And Klopp said in his pre-match press conference on Friday he needed a little bit of time to develop, because he was used to playing with 2 defensive midfielders at Monaco, and now he's only playing as the one, so he has to do a lot more work. And slowly but surely he's got to grips with it, hasn't he? And Klopp even said he gets called up for Brazil but doesn't play. Don't want to create any headlines around that, but the inference was, how is he not playing in Brazil's midfield? And I suppose that's an interesting point, but it's one that Liverpool certainly benefit from, because now we've got an international break on the horizon, and we in 2 or 3 weeks, and he might not play both games, whereas Jordan Henderson's likely to play both games for England, and Gini Wijnaldum will play for Holland, so he gets a little bit of a rest there. And I'd be mindful to rest him against Aston Villa, actually, because he's 1 booking away from a suspension. Liverpool cannot afford to have him not playing against Manchester City. I think they'd be able to get through against Villa without him because they're going to need him, definitely. I mean, last season, I suppose, Fernandinho was the best defensive mid in the Premier League, but I think Fabinho now is... I don't think there's anyone else who's close to him, to be honest, in that particular position.
But if he gets booked in the Carabao Cup, will that mean he misses Villa? Does that count?
I'm not sure, because I've always just assumed he's not going to be playing.
Because if he could do that, then you just set him loose against Arsenal and say, go and chop Arsenal down.
In the first 5 minutes.
In the first 5 minutes, get yourself booked and we'll all move on. Moving on, Jordan Henderson was absolutely slaughtered after about 2 minutes for giving the ball away pretty much in the final third, and obviously it was his fault that Tottenham then scored, and then came back in the second half, scored the equaliser, played very well. Why is it that people just seem to turn Theo like that on Jordan Henderson? The moment he does something that perhaps isn't great, it's almost like everything else he's ever done is forgotten, isn't it?
I wonder if part of that's because it comes with the armband. Like, he's the one who's leading by example, so you expect that bit more from him. Like, there's no issues, say, when Virgil van Dijk, even when he's not wearing the armband, if he creates a mistake. Like, I think against Salzburg, no one really batted an eyelid too much at him getting turned so easily. But with Henderson, it probably comes down to as well, he's not Steven Gerrard. So it's that man he's replacing there.
Do you think that's still going on?
I reckon it still is, because you look at it, the goal he scored yesterday, that's what you expect from like Steven Gerrard back in the day, wasn't it? Liverpool, they're not winning here. They're not even on level terms. They need the captain to rise and get them back into the game. And he's gone and done that with a very good finish that we've seen Gerrard do time and time again. And then how many times do you see Gerrard give the ball away in the edge of his own box? There's always that pressure there. And he probably puts it on himself as well, because you see how passionate he is, how emotional he can be in games. Like, we saw how much the goal meant to him.
Celebrates a goal properly, doesn't he? That is how I tweeted that, because that is how everyone should be made to celebrate goals. Don't fold your arms and sit on the floor.
Just up to the main stand and shouting F off.
Just run round like a lunatic. That's what it means to score a goal.
Continue. I was just seeing how we're going there. Yeah, exactly. And then you think, like, you remember last season when Carragher came out and said no one grows up wanting to be Gary Neville, and how that belief about fullbacks is probably changing. It's now no one really grows up wanting to be Jordan Henderson, because he was just that number 6, wasn't he? And it was the boring sideways passes. It's just not very exciting.
Just get your shovel and bury Jordan Henderson.
But no, he's shown he is so much more than that, and he has been time and time again for Liverpool. And the fact that he's got those moments and that potential, and then he doesn't quite deliver every single week, that's as well where the criticism comes from.
Ian Doyle, you were shaking your head, rolling your eyes when Theo was talking then.
The Gerrard thing
wasn't completely. But the
Gerrard thing was just not no.
You don't agree with that?
I'm not having that at all. So he hasn't played for 4.5 years, has he?
Yeah,
Liverpool.
People remember.
Yeah, but I don't think it's got anything to do with it, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Is it just that people are entrenched in their view on a certain player, and any evidence that they can get to back up their view?
Well, the other thing is that he's the leftover from, never mind the Brendan Rodgers era, but the Kenny Dalglish era. He's been there that long, so he's always been somebody that, people, basically just criticise. He's the go-to person. I mean, let's face it, Dejan Lovren's the same. There are always going to be players in the team.
Yesterday.
It's like when Liverpool were winning stuff in the 80s, there was, Ronnie Whelan was a player that would get criticised by the crowd a lot. But look back now, I mean, even at the time, you just knew he was a great player. There's always one player or a couple of players in any great team that are the ones that not the fans who go to the game really, but the ones who are watching from afar and take the interest of. Look, Jordan Henderson is not. He's never going to be the most exciting of players. He's never going to be the one making loads of flicks and tricks. He's not going to score a ton of goals. He's not going to go around making, showboating and all that kind of stuff. But there's a reason why Brendan Rodgers made him captain. There's a reason why England nearly made him captain. There's a reason why he played for England in a World Cup semi-final. There's a reason why Jurgen Klopp kept him as captain. There's a reason why Kenny Dalglish paid all that money to buy him as a youngster. There's a reason why Jurgen Klopp regards him as what does he call him? I've forgotten. What's the word that he used when he signed the contract? He was like the commander or something like that. It wasn't quite that, but it was something along those lines. And I think Henderson's it's difficult for him because he knows in his position he's not going to be playing every game. He's the captain of the club, so he's the ambassador. Off the field, he's very, very good. Anybody who's ever spoken to him or dealt with him knows this. And he's always going to be the one that when there's always somebody else, isn't there? There's like, get Cater in, get Oxlade-Chamberlain in, get Shaqiri in midfield, Fabinho's in the, get Wijnaldum in, like playing like he does for Holland. Yeah. No one ever says, get Jordan Henderson in there playing like he does for England or playing like he did a couple of years ago. Like when Liverpool were going for the title in 2014, it was his, when he missed the last couple of games, that's what I still think cost them. That's why they didn't win it. So, yeah, I think Henderson, I think he's probably made peace with that, hasn't he? He knows that's always going to be the way. But, Liverpool just offered him, or he signed, was it last year or this year? I can't remember which year it was. But he signed a very long-term contract. There's a reason why that's been offered. He'd probably spend at least another 4 years at Liverpool, and he'll be popping up with important moments, whether it's like against Barcelona where he's bursting through and doing that shot which forced the first goal, or getting the equaliser like he did on Sunday.
It's very FIFA football manager. You've got the fans' criticism from the sidelines because they want that attack in midfield. But we all know they want Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita. You're not going to get that with Henderson. So you think that if you're playing a video game, and fans can all be the manager now, have the voice, they want those players that are going to get goals and think, I can do this on a video game and score however many goals, winning games easily. And it's not that reality there from football that you do need players like Jordan Henderson.
To be perfectly honest, I think that sounds a little bit patronising, but I do agree in the sense that, Doyle, you wrote a piece after the Genk game saying that we wouldn't see that midfield make up again.
I didn't mention Henderson or Wijnaldum once, innit? And yet everybody jumped on it and said, you're referring to those players.
But what you were getting at is that Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita in the same midfield, you're not going to see that against the Spurs because it would just leave far too much space. And there's a reason, as you were saying before, Henderson, the work, same for Wijnaldum, same for Milner when he comes on when they're a goal up, the work they get through, don't they? And the tactical sort of discipline that they offer will mean that Tottenham don't get chances.
Well, Henderson also went on to the right, didn't he, in the second half? He was playing for, in a match that I picked up on that, didn't he? And that's where the goal came from. And he put in a couple of good crosses as well. So, and that one run where it was funny, wasn't it? Because you were just thinking, he's gone past one, he's gone past another one. Yeah, he just kept on going, didn't he?
And in the end, that was a foul.
Yeah, that was a foul. Yeah, that was a foul. Yeah, that was a foul. But, I think he's just... The problem is, because he's a bit of a, not so much jack of all trades, but he's capable of doing everything quite well. There are always players who can do one specific thing very well. Yeah. And to a lesser degree, that's the same with Wijnaldum.
I saw people ghosting midway through the first half saying there are players in this team who aren't good enough to be in it. And I just find that bizarre, considering that Liverpool are 10 games into the season and they've won 9 of them and not been beaten. How are they still... How are we still seeing people questioning? Have they not seen any of the games this season?
Because it's social media and people only remember the last 5 minutes of everything. Every game, doesn't matter who it is who's playing. Every fan base has got supporters on social media who will react to the last 2 minutes of games, and it's it's strange. I mean, Henderson, I thought I actually didn't think he's been playing too well at the moment. And I think I might have even left him out when we were talking about our teams on Friday's pod. But yesterday he was excellent. I thought him, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Fabinho were Liverpool's best performers. Fabinho was just head and shoulders above everyone in that midfield, and Henderson was excellent in the second half particularly. He took his goal really well, and I prefer him in that position to the number 6 role that he played for so long. He's allowed to get forward a little bit more, isn't he, when he's playing in that one, and he scored against Southampton. He was crucial to setting up the first against Barcelona, and he's obviously got one yesterday. He didn't score too many, and we've got a piece on our website today, haven't we, with him saying he doesn't really care who scores. But I think if he's given licence a little bit more to get into that box, then he possibly could be targeting a few more goals this season, because he's capable of doing it if he can get into the box a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think Jordan Henderson is just a player that will debate for the rest of his Liverpool career. People have just made their opinions on him for and against from day one, and people would rather be vindicated than watching a Liverpool player do well, I think.
I think the goal was very good, by the way.
It was a great finish.
We can't.
Great finish.
On his left.
We must,
the run as well.
the run and the way he took it first time, and it was with his wrong foot, and it was from a strange angle. I mean, I was speaking to somebody after the game, and they were like, the goal doesn't have to remind me of something. Then they sent me a message about 7:15 this morning and went, Eric Cantona against Newcastle, which is the one where United won 1-0. And then I went and had a look at it, and it was like, kind of like it. Yeah. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was the same position and the same kind of finish into the bottom corner, which wasn't easy. So
it was difficult height, wasn't it? Because
I think he just hit the ground as well, didn't he? And so I think, that was, for somebody who scored, I think that's only his 7th goal under Klopp or 6th goal under Klopp, something like that,
First time goal for like 4 years.
Yeah, against the West Brom game, wasn't it? When
he should be doing that more, I think. Certainly getting into the box.
Well,
where you can get a chance.
Given that he was asked to go further up and on the right, he did exactly what the manager asked him.
Well, you mentioned the other one that was probably the other standout performer for Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Gorst, another trademark Andrew Beasley stat here, but he created 7 chances, which was only one fewer than Tottenham did as a whole. I mean, he's just growing and growing, isn't he? I know Carragher was talking about him on Sky, and he's mentioned this a couple of times this season. He said he's like a Kevin De Bruyne from right back, which might sound like he's overdoing it, but it's not, because he's creating more chances than anyone, isn't he? And he's just a complete danger on that side. Yeah,
what a player. I can't speak highly enough about him, to be honest. He's only just turned 21. His next appearance is 100th Liverpool appearance, 2 Champions League finals, England international, most assists for the defender in the Premier League history. Talk about him all day, and that was a superb performance yesterday. He's so athletic and quick, and he's got energy levels. But on top of that, he's got something that other fullbacks just don't have, and it's that innate ability to pick a cross and a pass, which is just his technical attributes are just outstanding. And every time he gets it, he just puts it exactly where he wants.
Yeah,
he set up Mane with a great ball, didn't he? And Mane should have done a lot better. He was spraying passes to the other side to Robertson all game, and just an outstanding performance. Can't really speak highly enough of him. What a player Liverpool have got in their hands.
It makes Liverpool quite unorthodox, doesn't it, Theo, in the way that they attack, because a lot of City's play goes through midfield, but Liverpool seems to get out to those full-backs, and Trent in particular, and he just creates chaos, doesn't he?
He's actually got like more chances, created more chances than De Bruyne this season.
Yeah.
So that you can say, about playing in midfield, you might get a few more, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
Liverpool have got this style under Klopp that gets the best out of the fullbacks, and we've seen time and time again why. It's not just Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, it's the whole way the team sets up to get the best out of them. And if he's doing this now at 20, 21, what's he going to be like when he hits his peak? Because if you're saying he's in defence for the rest of his career, that's going to be 7, 8 years away. And if he's getting double figures on assists now, he could break all the records for Liverpool, like appearances wise, and like assists like every season. I think we were talking about Thierry Henry or something's got 20 in a season. That might be the Premier League record, or Fabregas, someone like that. Well, if he's got over half of that now, what can he do when he's at his best?
Yeah, it's I shudder to think. Doyle, Carragher also mentioned, I thought some really interesting stuff from him yesterday, talking about the difference between Liverpool and City, and he said, City look great when they win. They're a very pretty team to watch, and they'll often hammer teams. But Liverpool are just relentless, and that's what broke Tottenham down yesterday, wasn't it? It was just wave after wave of attack. And although I think there's also almost a misconception at times that Liverpool haven't played that well this season.
I think, to be fair, I think City are quite relentless when they get going.
No, they are, but he means in a different manner.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Yes, I think Liverpool won 9 games out of 10. I think they're playing pretty well.
No, I didn't say. I said
there is a perception.
There's a perception.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, Stuart Brennan over at the MEN wrote a piece recently saying Liverpool have been lucky this season. But I think anyone who watches Liverpool week in, week out will know it's not luck. It's just that Liverpool don't stop and they keep going. It's
the old Man United thing in the 90s. We've said this time and time again on this podcast. The reason and Liverpool in the 80s, the reason they got penalties and the reason that they got late goals is because they just didn't stop. And if you're always putting the ball in the area and you're always having shots, then there's a chance that, look at the Tottenham game last year, it's last minute own goal. The reason that is because Liverpool were just pummeling them in the last injury time, and they got the goal there. And it was a little bit like that again on Sunday, where they just, we saw the goalkeeper had a great game. Liverpool created chances and chances. We said before, if they'd have won 4-2, no one could have complained too much. And going back to what Gorst, he said, they've got that belief that they can actually come out and do something. They know they can win these games because they've done it so many times, even when they go behind. It doesn't really make any difference. And I thought, as I said before, that was Liverpool's best performance because of the quality of the team they were playing. The unique circumstance in the fact that Tottenham would have been absolutely desperate to do something after what happened in the Champions League final, and you could tell that from the way at the end of the game their players were some of them were on the knees on the floor basically because they were exhausted and they put everything into it. And Liverpool got the job done just like they did against Leicester. It doesn't really matter that it was a penalty or not. It was a penalty. Let's face it, it was definitely a penalty. Even Pochettino said it was a soft one, but it's a penalty, and it's no coincidence that it was Mane who won the penalty against Leicester, Mane who won the penalty against Tottenham, because he's that kind of player that he is relentless in the sense that he just won't stop pestering players.
You're going to credit your brother for this insight?
Well, yes, my brother did say there's only Mane in the Premier League who would have won that penalty because of the way he plays, but also fits in with what Jurgen Klopp said in his quotes after the game, where he said the counter press, because he knew that Liverpool would have a lot of the ball, because you don't keep the ball all the time when you have these efforts, you will lose at some point. Tottenham are very good at counter attack, so the counter press that Liverpool needed to be spot on, which it more or less was. He said he was back, and the goal came from that because Mane got in, Aurier got back, Mane got the ball back, and the Tottenham player just didn't seem to expect that he was going to be there. And while it is one of those where it's not like a massive obvious foul. It's a foul, and it's kind of one of those ones, isn't it, where the player does it and goes, "Oh no, this is going to be what I mean. This is going to be a penalty." It's like I'm going to. Oh, there's no point. It's going to be a penalty. They're not going to change this. So, yeah. What was the question?
I've forgotten. Don't even droning on that long. I fell asleep.
Again.
Well, the question was the difference between Liverpool and City. Different styles of play.
Yeah, there are different styles of play, but I think they're relentless in different ways. Liverpool, I think we've mentioned this a number of times. They are battle hardened. That's why they come through these games, and it's not luck that they're actually winning these narrow games. And also, would like to point out that Liverpool have now played Tottenham and Arsenal at home. They've played Chelsea, Man United away of the top 6, and Man City have played Tottenham, and that's it. And they didn't win that game either.
Clever little point from me and Doyle there.
And he got beat by Wolves.
And Norwich.
Yes.
Finished 7th, didn't he?
Oh, that's great. Well, guys, the most prestigious and storied cup competition returns this week, the Carabao Cup.
Everyone's favourite
on Wednesday night.
Domestic
My favourite domestic.
You just said storied again. I thought we'd said you weren't going to say that ever again.
Storied?
Yeah.
When was I told not to say that again?
In the last podcast that we did together, and you said it, and I said, please don't say that anymore.
I don't even remember that. To be honest, I don't remember a lot of what you said. It's like Gorst was saying, I don't remember anything that happened more than 5 minutes ago. So the Carabao Cup is back. Gorsty, can Liverpool even afford to win this game?
Can they
afford to win this game? If they win this game, the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup take place on the 18th of December, which is when Liverpool goes to Qatar for the Club World Cup. I'm making a genuine point here that Liverpool have that many games in December already. Adding another one on top of that, I actually have no idea when they'd play this Carabao Cup game. So if Liverpool win on Wednesday night, it's all well and good, and they'll continue in the most storied and prestigious cup competition of all time. But they'll have a hell of a lot of games in December, and it could hurt them in other areas. So can they afford to win on Wednesday night?
I think they can because of the team that he's going to play. I think it'll just be... I think Klopp's got a Carabao Cup team and he's going to stick by it. Maybe if they get to the semi-finals, he might play his first choice, but I think for the large part he's going to give run out to the likes of Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. Adrian will play, won't he? You'd imagine. Heather and Kelleher. I mean, fixture that December is looking tough, isn't it? They're going to Austria, then they're going to
You're
Qatar.
Not going home at any point in December?
I know, I'm just going to... I don't even know what I'm going to do, just...
You can tell Tasha you're not going to see her at all, because you're never going to be in the house.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know when it would be played, but they'd fit it in somewhere, wouldn't they? And I think if Liverpool got through... If Liverpool beat Arsenal and then they're in the next round, I think Klopp's got enough of a squad to continue playing the team that he's got at the moment without it having too much of an impact on his Premier League squad. So I think, to answer your question, he's going to put the team out, and I think if they lose, it's not going to be a huge, disappointment. But I think the players who are playing in the Carabao Cup are playing for more appearances in that competition. So I think it'll be on them to basically get through.
Who are you excited about seeing, Theo? What youngsters do you think that Klopp could include?
It's the obvious ones, isn't it? Ryan Brewster, Harvey Elliott. It'll be a home debut for both players, won't it? And that's the one you want them to grab their opportunity. The way Liverpool are approaching this League Cup game, the fact that both players sat out the 23s game at the weekend, they've got that extra preparation. He knows the team he's going to put out. And those are the players that the fans want to see because there's such excitement about them. With Brewster, he was first on the bench, the last time Liverpool lost at Anfield in the league. And you've just been waiting for him to have an opportunity, to grab that opportunity. Got a little glimpse in pre-season, scoring a few goals. And this could be his tournament. In the last few years, when you've wanted to see the youngsters in these cup competitions, Liverpool have been knocked out early. Even when First one that comes to mind now is Danny Ward, and that's a random one. You think, you have an opportunity to try and stake your claim for a place in goal, and like Liverpool lost in the third round of the League Cup to Leicester, and didn't play for a year. You think, well, if Brewster and Elliott have played well, they're going to have quarterfinals, semi-finals. Otherwise, they've just got the FA Cup third round, and then if you get knocked out of that, that could be them done for the season, depending on where Liverpool go in the Champions League and that. So it's so important for them to grab these opportunities, because if you look back to, say, Trent Alexander-Arnold breaking through, that was because of the League Cup, the last time Liverpool had a proper run in the competition. So you can play down these tournaments. They do make a difference for these players. It is that platform to get to the next level.
Yeah. Doyle, you reckon Nico Williams could play a part on Wednesday night?
Well, he wasn't playing for the under-23s, and he was training with the first team, and I know for a fact that Jurgen Klopp quite likes him. Anybody who hasn't seen him play, which I would imagine is most people, he's a right back, and he's very much in the mould of Andy Robertson, likes to get up and down the wing. He's very attacking, can play wing back. Scored a few goals already this season. He scored one in the Youth League. I think Larucci crossed it for him, which the Salzburg it was that game. And he's also scored, did he score in Napoli, I think? No, he didn't, did he? He nearly scored, that's right, he hit the bar, I think. Again, with
he was
Waller.
one of the best players in Napoli, but he didn't score,
Has he scored an absolute screamer as well from one of the games?
He scored against Oldham as well in the EFL trophy, so he's somebody that would have been on Klopp's radar for a while now, and I know he likes him. I'd imagine he'll play. I'm not sure whether Harvey Elliott will play, simply because of the players that are available. I know he had a great game against MK Dons, but if you're choosing between Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott to start the game, because you've got to assume that Bruce is going to play and Divock Origi needs minutes as well, so they're not all going to play. And I know we'll go through the team in a minute, and then there are certain gaps that need to be filled. The reason Nico Williams is there is because Kiana, however, as I call him, every time I write his name, Hoover, he's with Holland in the under-17s World Cup. Where has it been held? Is it Brazil? Brazil.
They lost their first game.
Japan,
they lost, so that's where he is at the moment. Otherwise, he'd be playing because he scored against MK Dons. So, yeah.
So by the way,
the League Cup is not as good as the FA Cup, though. Everybody knows that.
Well, me and Gorsty say it is. So there you go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
What would you rather win, the League Cup or the FA Cup?
Club World Championships.
That's not one of the answers, I'm afraid. What would you rather win?
League Cup or FA Cup? Don't fall for us.
I think you should. What would you rather win?
But doesn't this disrupt the cup?
What would you rather win? What would you rather win?
Look, I'd rather win them both.
No, what would you rather win? The FA Cup or the League Cup?
Let's pick our team.
They're all winners' medals.
Adrian in goal. I think we'll all agree on that.
Yeah.
Yo, Adrian back in goal. Right back then, is it going to be Nico Williams?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'd give him a go.
The only way it's not is if you've got one of your centre-backs back and you don't really want to put Van Dijk there. You don't want to risk Matip.
No.
So probably.
So Joe Gomez, centre-half, alongside whom?
De Haan Lovren.
Lovren staying in?
Yeah, I was thinking Sepp Vandenberg, but he only come on for like 2 minutes against MK Dons, didn't he? Yeah, Lovren. Yeah, I agree. Left back?
James Milner.
Milner? Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Captain, yeah. Okay, midfield?
I'm going with the Old Trafford subs.
The Old Trafford subs.
So that midfield started against MK Dons.
The midfield we're not going to see, we're going to see. Well, 2/3 of it. The 2/3 we're not going to see, we're going to see. Yeah,
but it's still not the midfield we were going to see, so...
So Lallana playing in the deeper role.
Yeah, Lallana playing the Fabinho role.
That'll be the first time he's actually played that role.
Since the MK Dons game, yeah.
Did he play in the MK Dons? Yeah. Okay, and the front three, so you're saying Origi will play. Curtis Jones, do you think will be left to the front three?
I would definitely play Curtis Jones simply because I've seen a lot of the youth league games along with Paul, and I've seen quite a few under-23 games, and he's always been if not the best player, then one of the best players, and left. The left side of that attack is a position that he's been pushed into over the past 8 or 9 months, because I know he made his debut for Liverpool in the centre mid where he spent a lot of his younger years, but you can never really work out where he wanted to play or needed to play. And the likes of Neil Critchley, they've been quite insistent on him getting forward a bit more and showing a bit more of what he's about, and he seems to have found a position on that left flank. And he had a good game at MK Dons. I think I gave him man of the match, and he definitely has to play for me.
I'd go Jones on the left and Harvey Elliott on the right. I don't think
Brewster.
No, I don't think shutting Brewster out to the right. I don't think he can quite play there. To be honest, he's still very much learning his main position as a striker. So I think putting him out on the wide right might be a little harmful. And I think Elliott showed enough against MK Dons to warrant a place against Arsenal. I'm looking forward to seeing the Arsenal team as well, because I'd imagine Unai Emery is going to do something similar to Klopp and
Be the Europa League team, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
play all of his up and comers, and they've normally got one or two, haven't they, who are quite decent.
I play Origi on the right and Brewster down the middle. I think Brewster has to play. Simple as that.
I'd have Origi on the left, Elliott on the right, just because Jones played in the 23s game, didn't he?
Yeah, we went off after an hour.
Yeah, but he still played more than the others.
Yeah, but he went off after an hour.
But Elliott didn't play at all, Brewster didn't play at all.
All right, lads, take it outside.
It's Theo's team.
Or would you rather win the league before the FA Cup?
Don't answer that, Theo. Don't answer that. Right, let's wrap this up with a prediction. Gorsty, you go first. It's a hard one to predict this.
It is.
It could be
because
anything.
I have no idea what Arsenal are planning for their team, so I think it'll go to penalties.
Deal.
Is that a prediction?
Yeah, it can be, yeah. Who's going to win it?
It could go either way. That. Go on, I want to say Liverpool on penalties.
Liverpool on pens.
I'm going Liverpool on penalties.
Liverpool on pens.
Arsenal win 3-2.
I'm in the office on Wednesday night,
No extra time.
Yeah, it's 7:30 kick-off, so you've got no extra time.
Yeah,
Arsenal to win 3-2.
Awesome. Unfortunately, I hate to do it. I kind of think I'm going to agree with Doyle, because I think Arsenal will have
They'll have a stronger
slightly
team.
senior.
They've played a bit more football.
Well, having said that,
It means a bit more to them,
having
really.
said that, if you just look at the Liverpool team that we've just picked, Adrian, who's played most of the games this season, Lovren, who's played the last couple, Gomez, who came on in the Champions League final. In the midfield, you got those three who were starring at Old Trafford, and two of them who started and played well against Genk. And you got Origi up top as well, who scored 2 against Barcelona. Suddenly it's like, well, hang on, this Liverpool team isn't that bad.
It's just the right back.
To be fair, we don't know what Arsenal's Carabao Cup team will be like. They might still have Quincy Owusu or whatever. He used to play
Who's the lad who keeps scoring the goals? Martinelli, is that his name?
Yeah, Martinelli.
Yeah. He's bound to play, isn't he?
It's when you're like Carlos Vela scoring hat-tricks every League Cup game.
Yeah.
Who's the one they're playing at the moment? So you got booked to Sheffield United for diving.
Saka.
Yeah.
And what
Imagine he'd
about
play.
Ozil? Will he play? He normally has a not very good game at Anfield, it has to be said.
Xhaka. Do you reckon he'll play after his little strop
I'm
at the
not
weekend?
sure. Do you reckon? I want to see. I can never pronounce his name.
No, he isn't, but
The centre mid, Guendouzi, is that his name?
Guendouzi,
I want to see him rugby
Just
tackle players. Yeah.
He seems all right, and Guendouzi.
Like I said, could get a game, couldn't he?
We will leave it there.
What would you rather win, Joe?
And that's it. That's the end of the podcast. See you on Friday, when we'll hopefully be talking about, well, I don't know, what will we hope to talk about, whether we want to win or
Liverpool through on penalties.
When we're playing this League Cup quarter-final.
Yeah.
In January at some point.
Hopefully we'd be talking about a very busy December. And until then, ta-ra.